Welcome back to another NCAA Revamped Rant with Max Power, CFB. So, I guess to start things off, Harbaugh's been hired. I personally believe that the timing couldn't be better because if you've listened to Harbaugh, I believe it was either in the off season, in spring camp or fall camp before this season, or at the end of last season after the loss to TCU, he mentioned something when in regards to N.I.L about having a program that is transformational, not transactional. And in order to have a program that is transformational, not just players have to grow and develop and go to the NFL, but coaches have to go, have to grow and develop and go to the NFL. So Harbaugh, I think at the right time, while his name is hot, these are not things you can pass up. This is like you win the Heisman, you have one of the best seasons, you're going to be a top three draft pick, and you decide to come back. And it's like, why would you? You know, you have the hottest name right now on the market. You know, you're a top 3 pick. You got to strike while the iron's hot because nothing is guaranteed. You can go into next season and unfortunately, like, it's football. You can get injured and what was once a first round pick becomes now maybe a second round pick. So it's just what it is. Like, it's better once you've secured that spot, once you've got that highest draft spot that you can get, that you take it while you can get it, because you may not get it again. And it's time to start your new career. It's the beginning, another beginning. It's a brand new start. So Harbaugh gets his transformational opportunity, and now I believe Sharon Moore will get his transformational opportunity. And along that way, all the other coaches will get their opportunities. So Mike Hart could be like assistant coach. I think Kirk Campbell is a great offensive coordinator. I really like the play calls he did for the game. I believe it was against it was the second game of the year that he did. So I really believe that in that second game, or the game that he did do, if it was not the second game, that he had some good play calls. I believe it was against UNLV, or no, was it against East Carolina? It might have been against East Carolina, I think. I can't remember right now. But I remember the game that he did the offensive play calling. It was pretty tight. A good balance of run and pass and some good real solid pass calls gave JJ some like easy, not easy reads, but it was, I was very impressed. Like, to be a layman, like I can't really sit here and dissect the thing fully and give you like a full breakdown like others can, but just on how comfortable the players felt being in the positions that they were put in, it was definitely a B plus A minus job. Always room for improvement. Like, that's not bad, for just calling one game your first time getting a B plus. I think that's great, and it's something to build upon, and it bodes well for the future. I have like some sneaky suspicions because in the limited time that I've seen certain players, I am very high on all of them. Like, it's going to be very difficult this year. It's too bad that some players transferred out because I think they had a good opportunity to fight for a position. And you know what? After spring practice, if you felt that, you didn't get a position, you're just coming off national championship. contender. You know what I mean? Like, there's teams that are gonna want you. All right, like you've been around that atmosphere. You come from Michigan, so you have that pedigree. It's not like you from a Rutgers or something. Like you would always be seen as a top tier recruit coming out of Michigan in the transfer portal, whether it's now or after spring camp. So yeah, but best of luck to you, of course. And to any others who feel like they need to depart. Thank you for the great season last year in all that you may have contributed in, whether limited or full contributor. Oh, I didn't save it. Great. Yeah, but if you all the best and in the rest of your career, and I'm the Michigan family. We will always respect your decision. So that's nothing to think twice about. If you think that you need to find better surroundings now that Harbaugh's gone, then hey, I have a feeling that most of you think that you're in the best possible position you can possibly be in. So, I don't think that there's going to be too much attrition. Yeah. So far, so all things point to Sherwood Moore getting the position. So, if I don't want to say anything yet until um, it's official. Like I've been waiting for it official to be Harbaugh making his choice, because I think everybody knew he was going to go. It was just he had to get the offer, and it had to be, the offer had to be good enough. So, you know, Michigan, it's great. It's nice that you made the effort to try and keep him, and that's always good, because he's well thought of around these parts, But when it's time, and I don't want Michigan to be a program where people stay too long and make the program go stale. You know what I mean? Like, that can happen in a certain amount of times, like, say a Clemson kind of deal, like where you just stay too long and it's not like conducive to maintaining a winning culture. And we should keep that transformational attitude where the goal should always be to the next step for players, for coaches, for head coaches, for positional coaches, for even strength and conditioning coaches. But before you leave, you have to pass on knowledge to the next coach. Like a player would pass on knowledge and compete for a position on the roster, because passing on knowledge doesn't have to be in vocal form. It's every time you do a rep. What really matters is the other person paying attention? Are you paying attention to the other person? Because you can sometimes even see a younger player do a rep better than you did the rep, and learn something and say, hey, wow, I'm going to take that. I'm going to look at that again. Or, anything. Talk to them about it after. So sometimes the learning process begins without even speaking a word. But when it's time to actually speak the words, it's going to be beneficial for the whole program. Because whether we like it or not, in sports or in life or in everything, resources are limited, roster spots are limited, NFL spots are limited. So we can't be afraid of competition, because in everything we are naturally competing indirectly to begin with. The car that you want, somebody else wants that. The girl that you want, somebody else wants that girl too. The cheeseburger that you want, somebody else wants that cheeseburger. There's only so many cheeseburgers. We make a lot of cheeseburgers, so there's usually enough cheeseburgers to go for around for whoever wants that cheeseburger. But for the real important things, sometimes it's an NFL roster spot. Sometimes it's that promotion. Somebody else wants that promotion too. Somebody else is applying for that. It could be your best friend. And he may get the position over you. But that's kind of the thing. Like, it's to understand that in a way it's nothing personal like that. And that's one of the things too. Sometimes when you get even the opportunity as a head coach, when it's time to move on, sometimes it's better to move on and carry that energy in a different form, because the process has been completed. And now it's time for the process to begin again. And at the end of the process, Sharon Moore should be going to the NFL, and somebody else should be head coach. Somebody else should be a defensive coordinator if Minter goes. I'm sure there's somebody else who's been listening, paying attention. I think I know who that guy is. Because his position players play like they know exactly what's going on. So he must know exactly what's going on. So yeah, I mean, to me, I believe that yeah, I think some better days are ahead for Michigan with Sharon Moore at the helm. And I can't wait for the day when we're all sad to see Sharon Moore leave for the NFL. And then it's another coach that's stepping up. Maybe it's Grant Newsom. Who knows? Maybe it's Kirk Campbell. But that's what happens when you're always chasing to the next level, when you're not resting on your laurels, when you're not happy to just be where you are, when there's other challenges to go ahead and try and conquer as well. Like Harbaugh's trying to conquer the NFL challenge now. To him, that's the undiscovered country. Like explorers, it's in our blood to go for the undiscovered country. And with Michigan moving forward, I say go and search for the undiscovered country, where people don't do things where people haven't done things before. I mean, I guess, everybody would say, sarcastically, do it within the rules, blah, 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 but you know what I mean. Like, it's like, yeah, show college football in this new era of college football something that they've never seen before, that they're not even expecting. That's from me as a Michigan fan. Now, moving on, as you can see, it's been up for a while. This is the NCAA National Signing Day 32-team tournament. Using the rankings for player and team by 24/7 Sports. Their rankings were a little bit easier to use because I could sort by position, so it was a lot easier to start filling in position players and so on. As just to note, so I don't hear anything about it later, as far as this is concerned, this is players' recruiting class. So I believe even with Bama, they just signed the wide receiver. So I'll probably have to give them a bump in the recruiting, like 27 commits, and it'll probably be over 300. And the reason why I'll be doing that is because sorry, I lost my train of thought. But because I was thinking about something else the reason why is It's in regards to Julian Sayin. So since he enrolled in classes at Bama, he had to use the transfer portal. So for this tournament, he will be playing as his with his recruiting class, which was Alabama's recruiting class. So now that he's used this transfer portal, that's after his recruiting class. I just want to make that known because that's the official take. So that's how I'm going to do it as well. So if you see Julian Sayin on Alabama, that's why. This is for National Signing Day. He has already signed his national letter of intent, and it was to Alabama. And he enrolled in classes at Alabama and went to those classes, and therefore had to use his transfer portal ticket to get to Ohio State. So I just wanted to make that one clear as well. That's about this for this one. I'm looking to get it done by about February 10th or so, maybe the 12th, the latest. Because now that some of the coaching dominoes may start to fall and National Signing Day is done, I can, oh well, not done, but coming up, and the transfer portal seems to have quieted down a bit. Now it's like I can just get to work on the recruits, and then by the time I finish all of these, then the actual National Signing Day should happen, so I should know where all the players are going and then add those in as well. And hopefully most of the rosters are complete, because then, you know, like Arkansas, you can see only has 19 commits. Yeah, so some don't. Florida only has 19 commits. South Carolina has 16. So hopefully they just like fill out the recruiting classes, and then I don't have to like do weird stuff. But other than that, so yeah, I'll definitely be making like, of course, an announcement before, like, when I know for sure what day I'll be starting it back up. Other than that, just stay tuned for this because I think it's going to be really cool. And yeah, moving on. Also about like, I guess, recruits and just in general. When I say stuff like, when I put things like this, like, and it better get those NIL checks quick. Like, you have to understand that this guy, who he is, like CEO of JP Morgan, he's not just anybody. Like, and what he says is actually like quite interesting because it's the way he says it. So I'll just play a little bit of it.
In good shape, but the extra money that they got during COVID, trillions of dollars.
So, just as a little precursor, before he starts this, he says the economy is in good shape. Right? So it starts off
good shape,
but so you see, it would sound like the economy is in good shape, but now usually when somebody says blah 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 blah, but like, if a guy says, like, if a girl is talking to a guy or whatever and wants to know if the guy is interested, like we'll say, or vice versa, right? And or the guy is talking to the guy's talking to the girl and he's trying to find out if she's interested. If the girl's like, I think you're a nice guy, but everything that comes before the but is like getting the middle finger. So everything that comes, it's like the economy's in good shape, but middle finger, you know what I mean? Like, no. And then this is what he really thinks.
The extra money that they got during COVID, trillions of dollars, that's kind of running out. And it is.
Oops, hold on. So let me start that over.
Looks to in good shape, But the extra money that they got during COVID, trillions of dollars, that's kind of running out. And looks to us like it's going to run out sometime. It's been pushed out and out for a whole bunch of different reasons, but it runs out this year. The government has a huge deficit, which will affect the markets. But I'm a little skeptical in this kind of Goldilocks kind of scenario. I still think the chance of it not being a soft landing are higher than other people. That's not terrible. It might be a mild recession or heavy recession. Obviously, all of us in business have to know how to deal with, the ups and downs of vicissitudes of the economy. But I do think the cross currents are pretty high.
So, if you notice, it's kind of interesting, right? Because he is pretty much saying that you're on your own, like right there at the end where he's like, oh yes, we in business have to deal with the ups and downs and the vicissitudes of the market. He's pretty much saying is like, yeah, if you're in business, you're on your own, but if you've been preparing well and you've been frugal, you might survive. But for the most part, like, capital's gonna dry up, and being in business, you should know about these things, and you should be following the business cycle. So then you should know. So the reason why, like, this is important is because, like, this is not no ordinary guy. Like, if you read what's in the description, I'll just pause it here quick so, like, people can get a quick read. But if you read that, then you'll realize that, like, this is not like an ordinary guy. And I'll show you how unordinary he is, because people have seen this, and it's like, I don't think they understand the magnitude of what just happened, and why what's going on, what was going on. Like, people just think, that's weird, and then everybody has to be like, yeah, Obama and this guy were like, best buds kind of thing, and trusted each other fully and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's been pretty kind of crazy. But I'll tell you right now, I'm like, politically, I'm pretty much independent. I don't really like either party per se. I don't really like the do-nothing Republicans, and then there's the freak show Democrats. Like, I don't like either of them. I pretty much have my own morals and value that pretty much neither side really adheres to. So I can't support either of them if they don't both adhere to my strict values about how economy should be run. Like, there is a way to do it properly, and seems like now they purposely try to do it not properly, because no one can be this incompetent for so long on both sides. I put equal blame for the 34 trillion on both sides. Trump, Biden, Obama, Bush, like Clinton, Bush Sr., Reagan, all of them. Nixon started the whole thing. So it is what it is. We're here now, and I'm telling you, you read what you have to read, but not once have I ever seen anybody ever go on NBC, and this is probably the only guy who can go on CNBC and go and talk like this, and they would just sit there in awe of what he's saying still, with no pushback, no nothing. Let's see it.
Kind of virus.
Yeah, I understand. He may have been right.
And shut up.
People are growing. They're hungry to grow. They're innovating. It's everywhere. It's not just Silicon Valley. So we've got this great hand. But when people say MAGA, they're actually looking at people voting for Trump, and they think they're voting, and they're basically scapegoating them, that you are like him. But I don't think they're voting for Trump because of his family values. Now, if you look, just take a step back, be honest. He was kind of right about NATO, kind of right about immigration. Mm-hmm. He grew the economy quite well.
China virus.
Tax reform worked. Yeah. He was right about some of China. I don't like what he did.
No, I said China virus.
Yeah, I understand. He may have been right. And I don't like how he said things about Mexico. I don't like, but he wasn't wrong about some of these critical issues. And that's why they're voting for him. And I think people should be a little more respectful of our fellow citizens. And when you guys have people up here, you should always ask the why. Not like it's a binary thing. You're supporting Trump, you're not supporting Trump. Why are you supporting Trump?
It's hard to hate 75 million of your fellow Americans. And
I agree.
It's done quite
and, the Democrats have done a pretty good job with the deplorables, hugging onto their Bibles and their beer and their guns. I mean, really? Can we just stop that stuff and actually grow up and treat other people with respect and listen to them a little bit? And I do think the economy will affect. And I think this negative talk about MAGA is going to hurt.
He is that guy right now. So, look at that. Look at this. I want to pause it right here. And I want you to look. This is as he's talking to them, telling NBC that Donald Trump was right. Look at how they are looking at him. Look. She has such a big smile on her face. Let me it looks like she's has a smile, like she's smiling like she gets to be close to greatness. Like today is her lucky day. She is in a room with that guy. And he wishes that he's like, whatever I can soak up being this close to you, I hope I can just get something from your aura that helps me even be 1/10 of you. That's the look on this guy's face. This guy's practically apologizing because he's like, I don't know, man. I hope I didn't mess up when I said that China virus stuff. He had that he was stuttering like some guy was going to put a black bag over his head and, make him disappear almost. But this guy, like Jamie Dimon, he is the smartest guy in the room kind of guy. And read the description of the video that I told you about. I just go back, pause it, read it. When I say it's time to cut, it's time to pull up, no holds barred. This is not even just for Florida State. This is for everybody in the ACC. Like, you know what's coming. There is a storm coming. I didn't say it. This guy said it. So, counting on N.I.L and whatever, anything like that going forward, I would get away from ESPN. I would get away from Disney. Because I don't even know if Disney's going to be around. You see the whole battle with Nelson Peltz? Do you think that's normal for a company? That's not normal. That's not signs of a healthy company when there's like battle for the boardrooms. Like, yeah, you don't just lose $1.5 billion, okay? $1.5 billion, Disney. All over. No one's going to the parks. No one's watching their movies. Nothing. You know what the only thing people are doing? The only thing people are doing is watching college football. That's it. Not even the NBA is living up to the bill. Like, yeah, the in-season tournament, meh. Maybe it had some legs because it's the first time people are seeing it. They did the whole thing where they, with the courts to try and draw attention because, yeah, now the NBA is semi-pro. The NBA is semi-pro because it's all gimmick. Adam Silver might as be Will Ferrell. Look at LeBron James. This is the you know what? Just to hark back before I go about Harbaugh and being transformational and knowing when it's time to move on to the next stage of your career, the next stage of your life, when it's time to say, okay, this part is done, it's time to go forward. what is going, like, I don't even watch basketball anymore, but you know it's bad when I don't watch basketball and all of a sudden I get the what's up with LeBron James? LeBron James doesn't play defense. LeBron James is this. LeBron James is that. And then you watch the videos, LeBron James is actually that. Like, he is not the player that he once was, and it's time to hang it up. And you know what the real problem with LeBron is? You see, if you're a Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, a lot of these other players, they spent most of their young careers playing without the ball in their hand, moving without the ball, getting that nuance, getting that feel to find yourself open, to get to that open area on the court. So when the legs, lost a little spring in their step, they still had those instincts to get to their spots on the court. And then when they got to their spots, they were always able to do their little veteran tricks and try and, draw a foul here. But they never really tried to sell the call. It was, they just got you, they just knew how to get you in positions that you did not want to be in, because they knew the NBA. They had been playing for so long. It's like they could just feel it out. They know you're in a bad position just by the way your hands on their hips, whatever it was, the way your legs are spread apart. You don't have enough in your base, or you're too spread out, so you can't stop the drive. You're too standing up. Like little split instinct things that you think of. You're standing too upright, so you go and drive by. Like things like that. Or you don't close out quick enough, or you close out too quick and do the pump fake. Little things like that. You know what to be when the guy is driving, and you know that little spot to go and the perfect timing to go into the corner so the defender doesn't know you're there, but the guy dishing the ball off to you after the drive, he'll see you. Those little things. LeBron never, ever got to actually have those little things. Even Jordan had those little things and he was a demon with the ball in his hand, but he still knew how to play off ball as well. So as he got older, he didn't need to have the ball in his hands all the time. That responsibility could be dished out to somebody else. LeBron needs to have the ball in his hands all the time, and he only really has one move, which is to barrel his head and go to the rim and try and draw a foul. And it doesn't work like it used to, because he doesn't have the athleticism like he used to. He doesn't have the spring like he used to. So you don't have to be as fearful of him driving to the rim like you used to, because you can handle. He plays more beneath the rim now. He's never had to set a screen before, so he sets terrible screens. He doesn't time it properly and whoever's, whoever is running the screen, the chemistry's not there because LeBron can't set the screen properly. So that guy is like taking the screen too early and is never giving a chance for LeBron to set up properly. And he doesn't jab the defender one way to set up the screen. None of that stuff. It's terrible. Like, the fundamentals in the NBA now are garbage. And you know what? This is when LeBron should have left, because you just ruined your legacy now begging for calls. The GOAT doesn't beg for calls. Okay? When the GOAT misses a layup, he doesn't whine at the referees while his team runs up the court 4-on-3, 5-on-4. That's not what the GOAT does. Like, you've literally eliminated yourself from top 10 now, bro. You're not even in my top 10 anymore after this. Because even if you're top 10, you're supposed to play with more heart. In the middle, no. If you're on the court, you're on the court. And you're fully engaged. And this is what I mean, going into basketball and transitioning back into football. Yeah, you don't want to stay in the one place or stay in that one spot too long. You don't. You just don't. Be transformational. Always be looking to get to the next level. Because if you make this the most important thing, the most important level that you'll reach, then that's it. It's the last thing you'll see in this league. It's going to be downhill from there. It's going to be from head coach back to offensive coordinator, back to offensive line coach. Because usually that's, like once you start back on that path down because you mentally said that this is the top, you're going back down from there. That's your ceiling. You just put your own ceiling over your head. So always be transformational. This is only one step for your coaches, for your analysts, for whatever. You build that depth in your coaching staff, in your analyst room. You get these people and you nurture them and you help them grow and you help them succeed in the position so that one day they can come and take over from where you are and carry the tradition that is Michigan football. That's how traditions are carried. That's how fight songs were carried. We sung them, so they carried. It's the same thing. Someone taught their son the fight song, and then their son taught their son the fight song, and it has to carry like that. We can't I don't want to be one of those teams that relies on N.I.L for everything. I kind of like the transformational approach. I wish a lot more. And you know what? Now that we've perfected it, if there is a recession and N.I.L dries up, guess what? Kids are going to want that transformational approach now. They're not going to want that. Since there's no N.I.L, live by the rat. That's what, use cheddar as the bait and don't be surprised if you catch a rat. Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, not that anybody's a rat or anything, but it's just the analogy where it's just like, you better hope that sometimes the people that you bring on are there because they want to be there, not because you're paying them to be there. Because we saw this with Mel Tucker. Yeah, it wasn't really like the athletic, their Ben Herbert type of guy in the training room, their athletic trainer. He was there because they were paying him a lot, not because of anything that Michigan State meant to him. So when it was time to go, before the program was even built or anything, oh yeah, you're gonna pay me more? All right. That's the game you play when you play the N.I.L and buy a team game. People have tried to buy teams lots of times. Houston Rockets tried it with Barkley and Pippen and Olajuwon. Lots of teams have tried to be bought, and sometimes it works out, but a lot of the times it's kind of a disappointment. Sometimes they never really live up to expectation. Now there's something to be said for timely trades, but the actual building of a super team, like the Miami Heat was such a letdown. Yeah, you got the 2 championships. You couldn't three-peat like Jordan, so not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever happened to that? Yeah, it looks like it got paused at 4, paused at 4 in LA. And probably gone at 4. I can never see LeBron James being the second best player on a championship team now. He's kind of like the third best player on a championship team. That's why you have to get Zach LaVine. But yeah, Zach LaVine, you better hope, please pray to your both of you, whoever it is, their names are the Atlanta Hawks kid from Murray. Yeah, both of you, LaVine, Murray. You better hope that your team doesn't trade you there, man. The LeBron curse is in now. Have fun playing 5-on-4. You know what I mean? And taking all the blame while he doesn't play defense. Zero defense. And he looks, I don't understand, he looks like he's pretending to be lost on defense. I don't get it. Why would you want to look like you're pretending to be lost? What kind of goat does this? You know, like, you're trying to tell me that you're like the king, you're dancing in the whole video with the crown on your head and all this stuff, and it's like, huh? Bro, have you seen yourself on the defensive end? What, just because you got the scoring title? That it took you however long to get? Like, you know what? Your chase is so much in vain that it reminds me of Ohio State head coach Ryan Day. Like, it seems like that's why both of you kind of like are floppers. Because I think Ryan Day considers this to be the pinnacle of what he can do probably, and it seems like he's destined to go back down. So we'll see if money can change that fortune, but a lot of the time, money cannot beat chemistry. So I'm going to be signing out from here. So it's been an hour and a half talk. It's going to be a lot of editing to do. But yeah, it's been a while, so I guess there was a lot to speak about. So, yeah, I will hopefully see everybody on the February 10th to 12th, somewhere in between there. And hopefully we get that party started. And then after that, it will be the way too early 2024 season. And then from there, it will be hopefully the real season. Because the way too early 2024 season will be a way for me to test out my dynasty additions with like stuff like that. How I'll let the injuries go. So we'll see like what happens with things like injuries. And then we'll see like who are like, I hate to do that, like, but we'll see like what the CPU thinks like the injury reports would be like and things like that. And then yeah, we'll go from there. And I'll try and see if I could find anyone's injury history, and try and do like, I'm really trying to make this year's roster, now that I have the whole off season, like my minstrel show. If anybody watched that video, you'll know. This is my song. This is my vision. This is my minstrel show. So I want it to be like the thing that like defines this channel. Like everything perfect to a T almost. Like getting everything perfect. So yeah. Look forward to that, and we shall see. In all things, time will be revealed. So, you know me, I can't go a day without making a prediction. So, there it is. We'll see what happens. That was a long one, but I think it was well worth it. I'm going to have to break these down into separate videos, that's for sure. Okay. Adios, farewell, and all the best in 2024. And, oh, let me tell you about this one. I hope I'm wrong. But I fear I'm right. So, take that with however you want to take it. Whenever I hope I'm wrong but fear I'm right, I'm unfortunately right. So, it's a curse, almost. The gift and the curse. But I'm not R. Kelly. Anyways, adios. Thank you for listening. If you listened to this far, then hey. I mean, well, it's all going to be broken up anyways, and some things are going to be spliced together with other parts of the video. But, thank you for listening. Let me know if you agree, disagree, think I'm crazy. Yeah. Yeah, read that description and then let me know what you think, because that's the tell-all. All right. Talk to you later.
Money running out, rates are high, QT hasn't happened yet. QT may bite. I expect it to, by the way, that you'll see more volatility, particularly unwanted in treasury markets because of QT.
So are we going to see that recession this year?
Yeah, it's a possibility. I think they did the right thing to raise rates. I think it was a little late, and I think they're doing the right thing just to wait and see what happens. And as you said, it takes a while to see the full effect of that. And there are other financial conditions out there, but all of those factors may very well push us to a recession.
AI to hit 40% of jobs and worsen inequality, IMF says. Artificial intelligence is set to affect nearly 40% of all jobs worldwide, according to a new analysis by the International Monetary Fund, IMF. IMF's managing director, Kristalina Georgieva? Sorry if I butchered your name. Says in most scenarios, AI will likely worsen overall inequality, meaning women will be affected the most. Ms. Georgieva adds that policymakers should address the troubling trend to prevent the technology from further stoking social tensions. The proliferation of AI has put its benefits and risk under the spotlight. The IMF said AI is likely to affect a greater proportion of jobs, put around 60% in advanced economies. In half of these instances, workers can expect to benefit from the integration of AI, which will enhance their productivity. In other instances, AI will have the ability to perform key tasks that are currently executed by humans. This could lower demand for labor, affect wages, and even eradicating jobs will. These things will be happening. They're trying to soften the blow. But I'm telling you right now, the capabilities of AI are very, very troubling. When it says it can be executed by humans, you have really no idea what, exactly how far that goes. So I'll just give you a quick example. So with these two right now, speech to text and text to speech, you've just pretty much eliminated most call center jobs right then and there. And you think, oh yeah, you mean I'm going to have to talk to one of those things that sound like those terrible YouTube videos? It's no, tell me how you think this sounds.
The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. This simple fact has been observed by humans for thousands of years. In the heart of the city, there is a large park where people go to relax and enjoy nature. The park has a beautiful pond with ducks and swans. The library is a quiet and peaceful place where people go to read, study, and learn. The shelves are filled with books on every subject imaginable.
In the kitchen, the aroma of freshly baked bread filled the air. The loaves were golden brown and crusty on the outside and soft and warm on the inside.
Remember before when you would call into your bank all those years ago? And before you would have to speak to an agent or something for telephone banking, it would always say, or anytime you call into pretty much anything where you have to call in the telephone and you have to speak to a representative, it always says that this call is being monitored for training purposes, kind of thing, and it gives you that little disclaimer. What do you think they're training? What do you think they were training these past 10 years with all this call center data? With all this call center data? They've been training the AI for who knows how long. So I'm pretty sure by now it'll be able to mimic a phone conversation based on millions and millions and millions and millions and hours of phone call center data. So think about it. That's not just banks, that's pretty much everywhere. That it could be eliminated from tons of government positions. You may just have AI talking to you, like trying to make you sign up for a credit card, and you don't even know it. And the weird thing is, it might be able to pull up more data on you than you can even realize about yourself, and you may not even know about it. How crazy is that? So, I mean, there's another article I'm reading. They've already started with all the layoffs that you've been hearing about. Citigroup laying off 20,000 people, all the bank branches disappearing, all the brick and mortar stores disappearing. It's already starting. They're already being replaced. So, I don't know. Like, they're talking young people turning to AI therapist bots. Like, what? People getting therapy from AI? It's like THX 1138. Crazy. So, I don't know. Yeah, here, this part. It echoes a report from Goldman Sachs in 2023, which estimated AI could replace the equivalent of 300 million full-time jobs, but said there may be new jobs along a boom in productivity. Maybe. That's if government doesn't suck the life out of it. If government was to stay out of the way like it did when the horse and buggy was replaced by the car, or when the steam drill or the electric drill replaced coal miners, then yeah, maybe something will happen. The labor will just end up going to other places, and the increase in productivity and efficiency for the lower price can hopefully bring things down, and maybe a whole new economy will be created. But who knows? Because that's not what it sounds like the elites want. So I don't know. We'll see, right? But yeah, this is one of the things that I see that can affect college football. So it's just, that's how I'm taking it, really. And to me, this is pretty much like what happens if there's a economic, like, stock market crash like there was in 2020, say, like a real flash crash, and the rest of 2020, and let's say even some of 2025, is pretty much wiped out economically because inflation may be still high, so the government can't really lower rates too much. So it's like we have to take our medicine and eat it too, kind of deal. And then there's just no capital in the markets, like no liquidity anywhere. Like, liquidity is dried up. That's like a worst case scenario. When he said hard landing, that's the hard landing. That's the Wile E. Coyote, like, looking down and be like, uh-oh. And he goes through the ground right to hell, and he's talking to Satan, and Satan's like, I was expecting you. Yeah. Sends him back up. That's usually how it works. Usually the crash is like through the floor, and then that's the overreaction, and then it'll come back up to what fair market value should be, for depending on how long it takes the government to start printing money. Because that's usually what happens. Once the bailouts and the money printers start getting to work, yeah, then that's when you know there's trouble. And this time they're going to try and bribe us again. So when it all goes to hell, I know in Canada here, they're already talking about UBI. And there is no need to technically talk about UBI yet. But they did this in December before they went on vacation. So they at least put the motion type of thing, and they got the ball rolling. They introduced the idea into the public lexicon. So to me, that's enough where they don't really talk about it anymore. But if something bad happens, hey, weren't we planning ahead? And yeah, I mean, come on, take it from the guy who predicts things. Like, I predict things in college football. The same things kind of technically apply. It's a little bit more difficult with something like an economy where there's, like, now that it's global, let's say 3 billion people in advanced economies, we'll say. I mean, it depends on how much you want to call China an advanced economy, but because most of it's not advanced, and it's being slowly decimated by the Communist Party over there. But that is the gist of it in regards to this. I mean, what happens if those nil checks don't start bouncing? I mean, like, we saw what happened with Texas A&M. So will it be like one of those things where it's like live by the nil, die by the nil? So, and then you get nil, it may be. Because there's a lot of dollars being put in now, so I don't know. We shall see. We shall see. It'll be the typical it'll be a great storyline come November, where it's like the team that is built with money and just high-powered talent over the team that is built with, through organic, natural development and like a chemistry of togetherness where everybody knows each other and trusts each other through thick and thin, kind of, because they've all been through the fire together. They've been through the losses together. They've all grown through it together. So, and then I'm pretty sure we're going to hear now it's 2 coaches born on third base, even though Sherrod Moore was instrumental in building the cultures at Michigan, which is why Jim Harbaugh has entrusted it to him, because you can see the passion and the love they have for this guy. It looks like they would slam through a brick wall for this guy. And that's the guy you want as a head coach. That is the guy you want as your head coach leading your program. One of the brightest young coaches we've seen. And I think you'll be surprised at his ability to game plan through the week. I think he's learned quite a bit from Harbaugh, and he has a whole few tricks of his own up his sleeve. So, mark my words. Mark my words. Because that man's got charisma oozing out of his pores. So it'll be the 2 opposing forces. The unstoppable object with trying to go up against the brick wall. And we'll see what prevails. Will the unstoppable object be stopped, or will the brick wall prove to be a brick wall? Or a bunker? Can the missile penetrate the bunker, or will the bunker stand firm? We shall see. We shall see. But moving along, and this is another one I've kind of been interested in recently, of course. People have probably been hearing my ACC, FSU, ESPN takes. And when I originally started hearing about this, one of the things that I wanted to go back and see was, what were the original circumstances behind the setup of this extension or whatever, and what was the media saying at the time. So this is from USA Today, and it was funny because the one thing that they really just tried to mention was that the Atlantic Coast Conference is finally getting its own TV channel. It's like they start out with the big splash, and then I'm not sure who Commissioner John Swarford is associated with, but let's just see. North Carolina. So something about those North Carolina guys, eh? He pretty much left in 2021. There's something about the ACC in North Carolina because now it's NC State that's the commissioner, so it's always kind of weird there. Okay. Just had to know. Because we now see who's in charge of it now, kind of thing, so always a North Carolina State, kind of interesting. It seems like North Carolina and North Carolina State have some sort of like thing going now, and they always have some, they have that kind of little tether to each other, and I don't know. Seems like they're trying to like force FSU out maybe, because without FSU and you add the other teams, that's pretty much like NC State, North Carolina, Louisville. That's a much easier path to the college football players for those teams. So they're probably like, yeah, FSU, can you please go now to the big boy table? Because us little kids have to, do big little kiddie things. And before you go, you've been very bad. So because you figured out that we messed up, so for letting people know that we messed up, you've been bad, and we're gonna countersue you and say that you can't do anything and management wise while you're with us. And if you want to go, yeah, you still have to pay that $300 million or $570 million exit fee after everything. So yeah. And then what we're hearing about now, that the Swafford said league schools, or no, what we're hearing about now is that the ACC went without the teams and signed the agreement with ESPN and gave them an option. So ESPN just pretty much signed their death warrant. Like their response really has no teeth. It's like, okay, fine, that's great, but you do understand that you royally messed up. And even in their counterclaim, they did not dispute the things that ESPN said, FSU said they messed up on. So the fiduciary responsibility, all the stuff like that, the antitrust, they did not even mention that or dispute that and say, nope, that is not true. The grant of rights in a CIA bunker style set up so you can't copy it, you can't do anything, you can only read it. Like that doesn't exude confidence, And I think the fiduciary responsibility thing really has the most teeth, because like I was saying, like ESPN doesn't have any obligation to pick up their option after 2026. So 2027 to 2036, it's purely just whatever. They can say no. And realistically, ESPN could say, like, this article, what was it? It says back in blah, 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 blah. That was in talks, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, is actually only an ESPN option. It's like, huh? And then in here he goes to say, oh, well, he doesn't think that ESPN, see, they might actually make ESPN not exercise this option, and what could happen if they take that path, or once blah, 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 company Disney. Yeah, what if Disney's in trouble? Like, they've not been doing good recently. So, what if they need to renegotiate and save some money? ATC's been bending over for them for before, so that seems like what it is. It's like, forget about the increase in this scenario. The increase in this scenario, as you can see, is like, no, the Seminoles might still be mad about their rights being bundled with these other schools. Like, huh? Like, did you see these other schools? Like, none of these other schools have any pull. Like, it's great that, Duke beat Clemson and whatever, but even Clemson's is like a whatever now. Like, Dabble, this is the thing. Like, sometimes you stay so long, you end up becoming the villain. And we've seen right now exactly what the pecking order is and what the tiers are. based on the schedule's release. So first, the SEC and the Big Ten release their schedules, full schedules, and that's probably, so those are the prime time premium premier games, and the networks can get first dibs at the premier games. So they don't want to be bothered while the big boys are taking care of business. Now, the next one that seems to have their act together, but it seems like now, with Texas and Oklahoma leaving, is the Big 12. Now, with the Big 12, like with Texas, Oklahoma leaving, they do get some help with, like Utah and Colorado. Colorado could probably do decent. Arizona looked like it was going to win the Big 12, but now that's not probably going to happen. But they still have their QB and wide receiver. But it seems like it's going to be much harder going forward for them. And then they also have like Oklahoma State and some other good teams. BYU's there. They have some pretty decent teams. Like, at least they have a decent set of markets and like brands that they can build around going forward. And they have some decent markets that are already established, so they can come together. Now, then we have the ACC. So I've got some new names for these tiers. So the first is the Big Two, obviously, the SEC and the Big Ten. Those are the Big Two. Then we've got Next Man Up. So that's the second tier. The next man up is the Big 12. And now we have Semi-Pro. Semi-Pro is the ACC. Like, the way the ACC released their schedule, what a joke. Like, for one, I still have not really looked at it yet, because I don't have to look at it yet. But I did get a glimpse of it, and I was just like, okay. It's like, are you serious right now? Because the funny thing is, like, I did not really care about gonna release the Monday games on Monday and the Thursday, Friday games on Tuesday. It's like, whatever, I'll just wait for the release. So it's like, yeah, I'm not going to excuse me, I'm not going to waste my time with your sideshow like it's Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell, where, yeah, just give me the product. I don't need the side antics. That's why you're now Semi-Pro. Start taking some things seriously. Like, you're actually, like, now that you're starting this clown circus show stuff, now I'm really worried. Now I'm very, very, very worried. Okay? Because it's like, I just want to, like, just face palm. Like, what? But I digress. It's like, this is when I say, like, the fiduciary responsibility, and now with them adding the 2 new schools, and ESPN has no obligation to renew the contract after 2026. This is what you're getting. Future ACC programs Stanford and Cal mocked for attendance on social media. Now, I'm sure this is like right as the game is about to start and maybe some more fans come in, but even to start the game, this is terrible. This is horrible. This is what you're getting. Catch the fever. Yeah. Like, honestly, what are you doing? Catch the fever. Like, yeah, what are you thinking? Oh my goodness. You're not getting California. Does this look like a California market to you? Like, these are academic institutions practically. You're not getting anything. All you're getting is probably ESPN saying, yeah, we're going to have to not renew the option, and you're probably never seeing whatever you're seeing ever again. Because yeah, this like pretty much signs, scenes, delivers the whole kit bang caboodle as far as I'm concerned. Like, I don't know. This is incompetence, because you should know this. You should be doing research about what you're adding, and you know what? This is from Notre Dame, the conference, the Notre Dame told you to add these teams. And you know what the weird part is? Notre Dame, well, other than the only thing that's weirder, other than the fact that Notre Dame's telling you what to do and they don't even belong to your conference full time, is that now, from what I've been hearing from on a podcast from one of the Notre Dame podcasters, is their AD is strongly thinking of joining the Big Ten. You know, it's like, huh? And you know what? It would make sense for them now, because now they have NBC with the Big Ten. So it's really the NBC just merges, they could just merge the NBC portion into the NBC contract. Because that was always Notre Dame's big stickler. So now that NBC's with the Big Ten, it was like the Big Ten was saying, here, we got USC, we got these teams, come on. You got Michigan, we got Michigan State, let's go. And we got NBC, and now that they have NBC, it's almost like a match made in heaven now. And then you can, what if it's Florida State and Notre Dame going together as a package to make it 20 teams? Oh my gosh. That would be the biggest slap in the face ever. Ever. Forever, ever. Because then you're replacing FSU and Notre Dame with these two, pretty much. Because I'll leave SMU and Dallas. That's like a wild card. I mean, I know you're going up against the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. But, you know, it's gonna be kind of better than this. You know what I mean? Definitely. So, and I'm pretty sure there might be some buzz to having, like, in Dallas with them going into the ACC. Like, I mean, I don't know how much, because we'll see, but it is for them a step up and into the path of the college football playoff, a much easier path. And they've also got deep pockets, so that is not a bad ad. And they seem to be pretty good. They finished the year ranked in the college football playoff rankings and the AP poll, so that is not a bad ad. SMU is a good program, and you know, they're up and coming. And probably with N.I.L, they can probably make some more noise in the ACC. So, especially with their deep pockets. But yeah, I don't know. This is like really dropping the bag. Because now that when we go back to this, it's like, what? And in what I was mentioning before, what if there is an economic collapse and really the N.I.L collectives kind of fall flat? And that's what causes, you know, like the NCAA was quote unquote forward thinking, and they put out their proposal where athletic departments can sign their own athletes to sponsorship deals. So what if that happens now, and by 2027 it'll be even worse, especially with the increases in the Big Ten and the SEC. It'll be terrible because you won't be able to compete. Because let's say the minimum to run your program is to run your whole athletic department is what the ACC and Big 12 have as their deals. You need that as the minimum to run your whole athletic department. Well, they've already doubled that and in the hundred millions and everything now. So if all it takes is, like, we'll say $70 million with ticket sales and concessions and your media deals, payouts, and your bowl games and everything, and SEC and Big Ten are doing 120, 130, 40, 50 million with their, like, if you're Michigan and you have the big house plus your media deal plus ticket sales and jersey sales and all that stuff, wow, you could be pushing 150 million. You know, what do you do with that? What do you do with that extra money? You know, you start signing yeah, that's just extra money. Because if that's an extra 75 million to go and spend on your athletes that they can't even do at the ACC like that. So, and then the N.I.L collectors are falling apart because we're in a recession. And you're with the ACC, and then ESPN cancels your deal in 2026 and 2 years from now. They cancel your media deal, and then you add this. You add this. And the thing is, they're getting only 15 million, so it's not like you're giving them a boatload of money to do anything with, to grow their program or whatever. They're taking much less to just be a part of your conference. So if FSU and Notre Dame especially leave, oh my goodness. Because if FSU leaves, that just might open the door. You don't have their grant of rights. They have their own media deal with NBC, so they can just be like, yeah, you've watered down the conference and made it harder for us to find a path to the college football playoffs. Have fun with Cal and Stanford. We'll play them a couple times a year, don't worry, and bust them up for you. And yeah, we'll see you later, because we'll be playing Stanford, at USC, Michigan, and Michigan State, and OSU, and Penn State, and all these other teams, and Oregon, and Washington, and UCLA, and Wisconsin, and Purdue. Can you imagine the Purdue, Indiana, and Notre Dame, like, triangle of death? Oh man, like, you're talking magic. That would just put Florida State, and I know, like, people are thinking, oh, it's not that great of a fit. It's a fit. Trust me, it's a fit. And you know how I know it's a fit? Because Florida State plays defense. They were top 10 defense in S&P plus, in SP plus, sorry, S&P. Yeah, I see the stock market going. I still have the economy thinking in my head. They're top 10 defense in SP plus. So, yeah, you're going to fit right in. Because, I mean, can you reload that and, you know, bring new stars, develop new players? But the defensive scheme is there to play good defense, which is what you need to belong in the Big Ten. And as I think, this is something you can always market. It's how you market these things to your players if you're Florida State. Because you have to tell them, like, use Tua and the Miami Dolphins as an example, where you go into cold weather and you're not prepared. So the Florida kids, you know, this is training for your NFL. Yeah, you're going to go into the Michigans. You're going to go into the Ohio States in November. And you're going to travel out west to Oregon. And these are things that you're going to have to deal with in the NFL. So the Big Ten is probably slowly becoming the most NFL-ready league, where you're factoring travel, things that you're going to have to work out and deal with as a football player in the NFL, as a coach in the NFL, where the SEC is still regionalized. And Florida State, like, this is what you want to be a part of. Yeah, if you want, you can stay with your little regional pals and do your little regional thing. But from what everybody's saying, it's like they don't want you. They want North Carolina. So, you know, I guess if it all falls apart, North Carolina and North Carolina State seem to be going to the SEC right off the top. That's what it feels like. So yeah, you take Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, and take who else? Like Virginia. And take those three, and then you go to the Big Ten. That seems to be those seem to be like, that's like the best thing going forward. Then you can sort of like do 2 conferences of 11, which would be kind of cool, and everyone is like, you don't even need the other conferences technically. You just have to set up the schedule properly where, like the 2 conferences that play each other, like, so you play 10 games against, you play the 10 games against your own, in your own conference, like, Big Ten East Conference, and then you play, or maybe, you don't have to play all the teams in your conference. Maybe you just play 7 of the teams in your conference, and with protected rivals, and then you play 3 games against the other Big Ten West Conference, and then you have your 2 non-conference games that you can schedule, something like that. Because then you'd really want to make it like your own AFC and NFC going forward, you know what I mean? That kind of, and even if you want, you can split it into like, I guess when you start going into 22, you might as well just go to 24 and then do pods, like 16 pods. Like, do it like, so you play like 5 teams, you play your 5 games against the, you play your 5 games against, you play your 5 games against the team in your pod, and then you play 3 from the other pod, and I guess 1 wild card game to make it 9 games. Or maybe after, you know what? No. You go to an 8 game. You go to an 8 gamer. Because now you can flex like the SEC. And just don't schedule, like, you just schedule small, like Sun Belt or MAC or whatever. Every team has their schedules, a MAC team or a Mountain West team if you're out west. So if you're Oregon, you're an out west team, you schedule the Mountain West. Florida State could schedule a Florida International or something. That kind of game. It's not against, like, it's against a Power 5 team. It's against a Group of 5 team game. And then you have your other non-conference games. You have your big schedule non-conference Texas kind of game, and then you have your UNLV and whatever. Your 3 other rest games. Your pay games. So for your exhibition, to get your team warmed up. And I think that would work pretty well. Just go back to the 8-game schedule, because, I think especially with the new money and everything, and if you add Virginia, Georgia Tech, FSU, and Notre Dame, oh man, then you're going to, it's crazy. Because then you just do 4 16 pods, and I guess, you add, it'd be weird because I guess, you add Maryland, Rutgers, Penn State, Florida State, Virginia, and Georgia Tech. That's like 1 16 pod. And then you have Notre Dame, Indiana, Purdue, Michigan State, and Ohio State. That's another pod. And then you have, so you do it in like little regional divisions, and then who knows, maybe you stick with the 9 games, and one time you play 2 teams from one pod and 1 from each of the other 2 pods, and then you just keep rotating it like that over, so you're always playing 2 teams from one pod in one given year, and then every year that switches up. The possibilities are endless. But schedule, because You know, I think especially with the new money and everything, and if you add if you add Virginia, Georgia Tech, FSU, and Notre Dame, oh man, then yeah, you're going to, it's crazy. Because then you just do 4 16 pods, and I guess, you add, it'd be weird because I guess, yeah, you add Maryland, Rutgers, Penn State, Florida State, Virginia, and Georgia Tech. That's like 1 16 pod. And then you have Notre Dame, Indiana, Purdue, Michigan, Michigan State, and Ohio State. That's another pod. And then you have, yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. So you do it in like little regional divisions, and then who knows? Maybe you stick with the 9 games, and one time you